welcome everyone to a new edition of our Extreme Time for Business interview. Today our guest is Mr. Mehmet Akif ERODLU. He is the head of the supervising authority in the Turkish market. Welcome, Mr. ERODLU. Happy to have you here.
Welcome. It's an honor for me.
You will find a larger version of written version of this interview in the forthcoming reports published by Extreme, but for the time being, we want to get a flavor of the latest developments in the Turkish market. So 2022 was a very hard year for everybody. The economic environment was not friendly for the insurance business. And also the beginning of this year continued the same way. Inflation was high everywhere and the insurers have to fight it with every mean. But in your country, inflation, for instance, and the currency devaluation hit an extreme situation, and it's quite admirable the way that you managed to cope with this situation. Can you give us more details on how was insurance business going last year and this year?
Thank you very much, first of all, for your hospitality and giving chance to us. As you said, 2022 was very difficult for, I think, for all the insurance market, maybe for all the countries, but for the Turkey experience, it was really much more difficult and much more harder. Because after the 2022, unfortunately, we had a very big catastrophic event, as you said, at Maraş and including 10 cities, a very high-level magnitude earthquake. And it really hit our economy, that region, and of course, insurance company. However, I want to give you much more detail about that because I think whenever we talk with other insurers all over the world, everybody wonder how we handle as a Turkish or Turkey insurer, insurance companies and authorities and regulatory body. But first of all, I have to tell that yes, we spent very difficult year, but because of our economy is very dynamic and very strong, and the government is really strong, so therefore, as a government, as a market, we are handling it. This is the good news. Of course, unfortunately, the bad thing is we lost lots of number, thousand people. Unfortunately, never bring them, and it's really sad for us, for our losses. But life is going on, so we have to take some action. We have to take some lessons from this catastrophic event, and we have to look at the future. But before I give some information, I want to talk about a little bit about our markets, yes. Some figures maybe. As you said, it was very difficult 2022, but in 2023, our market is recovering. As of June, first of all, I have to tell that we have in the market, there are 74 insurance, pension, and reinsurance companies operating in the markets. 50 companies operating in non-life industry, 20 life and pension company we have, and there are 4 insurance company. And as of June, our premium reached $8 billion. And also as of June, our total balance sheet, industry balance sheet assets reached almost $40 billion. And also we have pension companies and pension system in Turkey, auto-enrollment and third-party pension, third pillar pension. And in the pension side, we have 15 million participants. It is very growing. When we look at the last decade, I can happily and satisfactorily say that as a market, we don't have any growing problem. In the last decade, annually growth rate was over 20% and over the inflation rate. So our market every year gradually is growing, which is very good. We have a penetration rate. It's very low, and compared to the developing countries or Europe, And actually, when we compare to our economic, our real economic situation, it's not in the place that the insurance market deserved. Is based on the estimation, it should be like around 3.5% something penetration rate. However, right now it's around 2%. So our economy, for example, in the first 20 big countries, our insurance industry within the 40 countries, 38 ranked. So it's not the correct place based on our economic, power.
But there is still a lot of potential.
Yeah,
grow.
therefore, I just want to come to that point. Therefore, a lot of demand to our market. And even we have some profitability problem last couple of years because of the MTPL line of business. You know very well, we several times discussed with you in some meetings. However, there are a lot of investors wants to establish new companies. Our industry alluring the investors. I think there is a two reason, maybe three reasons actually. One, our economy is really strong in the region. We're dominating the region, and there are some dynamics in our economy. And for example, compared to the world, every year is growing over the world average. For example, this year 4.5% growth. Last 13 quarter gradually growing, never stop. So this create production, this create employment, this create investments. So that means this reflects to the insurance side, of course, because when the economy grows, then insurance grows. I think first reason is this, and second reason, we have a very low penetration rate, as I said, and the third one, I think we have a very young population. Our young generation is very higher than compared to Europe, so that means they have a strong demand. So these three reasons, I think the investors still interest our market. There are several companies wants to apply for the license of the insurance. So this is good news for us actually. However, as I said, profitability is not as much as we desire. Especially ROE is very low. It's like now it's around 15%, but good news is recovering. Compared to last year, for example, it's recovering, especially at the end of the second quarter, as of June. Our profitability increased because of the motor-owned damage line of business was very profitable this year, and health and some line of business are profitable. MTPL still have some problem. Actually, fire line of business could be profitable, but because of the earthquake this year, just there is a unfortunate situation right now. So profitability is recovering also, so this is very good. But when we come to the earthquake effect, it was really a huge effect of our economy. There are lots of figures how much total affected the total economy.
In fact, if you allow me, I would like to emphasize something that I read, that this earthquake affected a so large area in the country that it's comparable with the dimension of Germany.
Exactly.
Just to have an idea. So everything was amplified because of the long distance destruction, the very bad access to the affected areas, the bad weather, everything went against helping people and those affected by the earthquake. Yeah. How did you cope in the end with all this situation?
It's really difficult. I never demand for anywhere in the world, of course. As you mentioned, it's cover 11 cities. You should live the reality. It's not like war. It's not like flood. The earthquake is really different. Earthquakes hit everywhere. I mean, I just want to realize in the imagination. We are talking about usually cities, but small towns, villages, some animal places, everywhere affecting. So, as a government, as an authority, you can't touch at the same time everywhere because it's huge around 11 city. It's like a mid country size.
Yeah.
So it really was difficult for us, for everybody, but our government and our country, actually, our people are a little bit experienced about this kind of catastrophic events. Yes, we never faced this kind of size, but we have some experience from different events. For example, in last decade, we had six time earthquake and high level magnitude. However, this was never compared with the other ones. I mean, this is the 65 times more strength and more wide area. But we recovered very well. For example, in terms of TCIP, for example, Turkish Catastrophe Insurance Pools, in 3 months, they paid as a TCIP 30 billion Turkish lira. I mean, let me give some figures first of all. In that area, our insurance total policy amount was 5.3 million item, all this area, and it's overlap like 5 trillion Turkish lira as a 1.6 Turkish lira coverage, all that area. However, our estimation was waiting almost 80 billion Turkish lira because the insurance penetration rate was very low at that area. And all in this 11 city, there is 1.5 million TCIP earthquake compulsory policy. And after the earthquake, as a TCIP, we got 500,000 damage file. 5,100 they demand, there is a problem, please come and check and pay us. 500,000 each solid house. So you can imagine, in 3 months, as a authority, regulatory body and TCIP, with the government support, in 3 months, we paid 30 billion Turkish lira, almost 90% of total damage. Right now, it's like 46 billion Turkish lira.
This means they have a very effective plan for managing such situations because claims need to be assessed.
Exactly.
Everything, it takes time, but
exactly. I mean, after earthquake, and we realized that it's difficult because you lose your house and you just, if you are lucky, if you didn't die, you just step out your house. Let's say you don't have anything. Or maybe if you are lucky, you take your jacket. You don't have money. You don't have maybe your car key. So we realized that it is really important to give the heat money. I mean, real money. I mean, very quick way to give the people to give the
first emergency measures.
Because they need money because they want to move some other cities. Of course, government paid a lot of money, support them. But as the insurers, we said that even TCIP, both TCIP and our insurance company, really quickly responded catastrophe, and they really paid very quickly, especially for the civil damage. The commercial line, it takes time. It's another story. I mean, it's like complicated, but the civil persons, they got money very quickly. So 3 months, 500,000 was really like a miracle. Of course, we didn't. I mean, because our loss adjusters number are not enough to respond quickly, so we use the damage report of our ministry, our urban ministry's report. They have a lot of losses adjust. So that was a good one. And the other side, our insurance company respond quickly. The problem is, unfortunately, in that area, because a little bit rural area of Turkey, and loan amount is not high, as much as high like the developed cities. Because of that, the penetration rate was very low compared to other area of Turkey. Turkey, for example, damage on the casco, for example, motor damage on line of business, 20%. And house non-compulsory earthquake coverage, 17%. And TCIP is really good. In overall, in Turkey, TCIP average is really good, 50%. So, I mean, after these devastating, catastrophic events, you know, we are all insurers. We are wishing that we wish that number of policy could be more. And not 20%, maybe like 40%, 50%. Then
at least
we can
for
give more.
some years, it's hopefully it will act like a good lesson and an incentive to get insurance for
Exactly.
people. Yeah.
I mean, of course. I mean, this is a really bad thing, but when we look at from the good thing, everybody got some awareness of the insurance, and this was really important.
It was a good demonstration of efficiency also for TCIP because whatever an insurer might promise and say, when such a situation occurs, then it can really demonstrate that it really goes quick and pays and it's reliable, and then
exactly.
it's really a good thing to be insured.
Exactly.
You mentioned something, and that gives me the idea of changing a little bit the topic. So there are also important damages for cars, and this allows us to change a little bit to the motor insurance topic. In fact, it is something that I've seen the last years everywhere. A lot of claims in the motor insurance coming from secondary perils events, from floods, from hail, from lots of things like this. In your case, the earthquake. How is motor insurance, and especially the MTPL side, faring these days? Because MTPL is a hot point in your market since many years now.
Exactly. Actually, you really pointed a very good, very important matter, actually. Because of climate change, everybody should be aware of this. And in Turkey, we have several flood problems, but recently it's really increased. Yesterday, for example, in Istanbul, in Kırklareli, somewhere in Istanbul, really the flood hit, and there are some couple deaths, for example, because of this. As you said, in the casco policies, people should be aware of that if there is a coverage of flood. It's really as much as risky like the crash. So it's also related with the TCIP coverage. Right now in Turkey, TCIP coverage only for the earthquake. And right now, as an authority body, we are dealing with, or we are planning, or we are preparing other coverage like floods, this kind of related with the climate change. So this is really important for everybody. And of course, this kind of damage affected the price of the product, and but it is facultative side, so it's like a problem of the market. But when we come to the MTPL, it's our every time hot topic, and it's like a very chronic problem for our market. You know the history. 5 years ago or 6 years ago, as a regulatory body, we brought a cap for the MTPL. So compared to the damage, the price is not enough. So therefore, the line of business is producing the loss. And therefore, the company is not very eager to
enter this.
produce the policy, but it's compulsory. It's compulsory for the companies; they have to produce, and it's compulsory for the insurers. So that's a really big problem for both sides and of course for us is the manage, because for every party. However, because of the last 20 years, our government made a lot of investment about the highways. And our traffic accident frequency decreased 30% compared to 10 years ago or no, 6 years ago. So I think this is a good one. It's good news. And also our lawyers are really aware of this policy and this accident. So whenever an accident occurs, it's realized turning to the court apply, coming to the as a they are demanding the insurance company. I mean, 10 years ago it was not like that, so our provisions was not enough. But right now everybody sees the real cost, because it's very quickly response. You know, whenever an accident happens, and the insurance company are aware of it, and the lawyers are find the damaged people. So we don't lose time. So there is no gray area at that point. I mean, in 3 years, let's say we can pay 60% of total compensation, for example. This is a good one. I mean, it was effective before the balance sheet, financial, before like 5 years ago, etc. However, there is a damage, of course, and then the company or the market wants the more premium. How we handle as a regulatory body? Of course, our target is to go to the free tariff, and actually we explain our roadmap on the MTPL. So within the 2 years, we want to pass, we want to remove the cap, and we want to pass again free tariff. But before that, I just want to do something, some action, some steps, such as, you know, there is a huge cost of the MTPL, and mainly based on bad drivers, because our infrastructure is really good. It's like Europe quality standards. But when we look at the reason of their accident option, mainly based on 90% of driving by the bad drivers or the misdriving. So it can be actually prevent. So we want to free tariff, and with the free tariff we want to affect their driving attitude, manners. However, until we go there are very risky drivers in the market, but they are not too much. Like there are like 6,000 drivers or policy holders. We want to discipline them before to go to the free tariff, and then after we discipline these very risky drivers, after that we want to take or pass to the free tariff. How can we discipline? We create a risky drivers pillar for them. So we realize these are very risky drivers, and then right now we are working on changing the highway law. With this risky drivers pillar, we want to bring some psychological test, maybe recovering their license, maybe temporarily, or rehabilitation or education. This kind of some action we are thinking, and then we will differentiate this pillar price in a very high level, because right now if we increase the tariff, everybody get reaction. It's too much. How can we handle it because it's compulsory, something like that. But only for this kind of very risky driver, we want to separate from the other drivers, and we can explain to the public opinion. These are not a normal, regular driver. These are traffic monsters. I'm telling our public opinion.
So you are trying to solve the problem, acting on both ends, let's say,
exactly.
on the frequency of accidents and on the insurance part. You have in the market, I don't recall at this moment, there is a bonus-malus system in place.
Right now, there is a bonus-malus. We had a 7 pillar, and within our roadmap, we added two pillars, one very risky driver pillar, as I explained right now, and there, also we brought in a very less risky drivers.
So
we
you
are
award some and you punish some.
So for the less risky drivers, we brought 50% discount.
Wow.
A very good bonus.
So it's a good incentive,
Yeah.
I would
And
say.
we brought for the very risky drivers like 200% sub premium for the malls side. We actually, there was a bonus models, but we defined again, and we how can I say, we highlight the difference between two sides. And as I said, but the main action actually for the risky drivers, especially when we suspend, even we are thinking to suspend their license, it's very, very. Can you imagine? I mean, you can imagine it's a, let's say, a commercial driver, and making
They
the
lose their job.
frequency accident every time, and 6 months suspend the license and never use. So it's a very good incentive to be a more careful driver, right? So that's the idea. Because you have to, first of all, you have to dry the problem. You have to solve the problem. I mean, it's not just related about the tariff price, because there is no end. I mean, you can increase every time. We have to get solution about the reason, the main reason of the what is it create all this kind of damage. Compared to the Europe, our frequency 2 times 6 years ago, and for, I mean, the accident resulted deaths. For example, people compared to Europe is like half, 50% much more compared to Europe. But as I said, last 5 years it's increasing 30%. However, the problem is this. I mean, how can we handle? How can we manage? So I think economic punishment is really important. And when you hire penalties, for example, for the penalties, for example, for the drivers not obey the rules, they have to. They are becoming more careful, right? So it's same. If we increase the premium of the policy for this kind of drivers, they will become more careful, for example.
Yeah, it's the same, in fact, everywhere, because MTPL being compulsory, okay, even if the tariffs are free, they cannot be raised unlimited. They need to remain affordable in the market, depending on the purchasing power of the population, etc., etc. So then you have to also work on the other end. You have mentioned extending the scope of the TCIP for other perils. We have talked also about measures taken on the motor insurance side. What other priorities has the SEDDK for
actually,
the next
if you allow me, I
Yes.
want to add this one for the MTPL side. This year was a very unique. Last year and some of this year affected the MTPL much more compared to other years. In last 2 years or last 1.5 years, our inflation rate, in a high level, but our interest rate was very low. There was a negative gap between them.
Yeah.
The insurers usually, when they collect the money, they invest the
Yes,
interest.
of course.
So this affect much more to the MTPL lines. Also last year, because of high level inflation rate, high level exchange rate, and spare parts increased, and minimum wage increased, there was internal effects, external effects and internal effects. So that, I mean, the other one, common reason, but this one very unique problem for the 2022 and 2024 for the first 6 months. So I have to add this one. So in Turkey economy recovering on that, they are accepting the rational policies, and the gap between the interest rate and inflation closer. So that means that also exchange rates stable right now. These are good news for the market and for the MTPL lines especially. So we are recovering on that side as well. So I have to add this one. It's very important lateness otherwise. What else we have on our agenda? I think your question was the other topics, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a insurance and pension regulatory and supervisory body, we are dealing with to bring some construction solution for the chronic problems, like MTPL, like health branch. But also we are focusing on to develop, to increase the penetration rate in other areas, in other line of business like financial insurance, cyber risks, and this kind of new area. Especially we are really giving importance about digitalization because we have very young generation population, as I said before. We have to grab this young generation because these are huge potential and they like smartphones, internet, digital technology. You know, our market usually like very traditional market. Our private agents consist of 65% total production, and they usually focus on the MTPL and motor on the damage, something like that. And our agenda within the digitalization process, we want to cover this young generation, and we want to open some digitalization process, new business model, new kind of product. And secondly, our SME has a huge potential. Half of our SME doesn't have fire insurance coverage. Especially after the Maraş earthquakes, we realized that the penetration rate is very low, and they got really huge effect on this negatively. So we have to increase their insurance penetration rates because they are open all kind of risks. So we try to redesign our distribution channel, especially the individual part. We have to push them like commercial sites. Every individual private agent should be like broker because our SMEs need to touch. They don't aware their risks. They don't aware about the policies. And we are waiting, for example, another earthquake in Marmara region. So we have to be ready for this. Also, we got a lot of lessons from earthquake. That's a good one for us because when you got a bad thing, you learn a lot. So the good thing and the important thing, we have to realize this experience to the reality. So we revised our earthquake tariff. We increased our TCIP limits. We increased, we brought a minimum level for the non-compulsory earthquake, for example. We increased the limit of the commercial fire and earthquake coverage. Right now we are preparing to increase the tariff for the commercial sides, for the fire and earthquake side. So we need to collect a lot of money before next, it's reality. We know there will be another huge level earthquake in Turkey, but we don't know when. Until that day, we pray for God. It should be very, very late. But we know, the science says it will come. So therefore, until that day, we try to collect a lot of funds, reserves. That's our idea. And also communication and create awareness or keep awareness. Because people, yes, they got aware of this, but they also forget very quickly.
Yes, and they tend to postpone. Only when such big events happen, the sense of emergency is somehow stronger. Otherwise, people tend to say, okay, I have other priorities for this moment. Next month, I will see. Exactly. Okay, I will insure, but not quite now. Well, there are a lot of things that are on your agenda, and should they be successful, I think there is a tremendous amount of opportunities, business opportunities for insurers there. There are a lot of place to growth, which means that we can only wish you to be successful in realizing all these things.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Thank you very
for
much.
coming in our studios, and thank you very much to you, our viewers, for being with us. Remain linked to the Exprime YouTube channel, and also stay in touch with Exprime for the forthcoming insurance reports, where you can read an extended version of this interview with more details and figures and strong facts. Thank you very much.